5D reality in ascension is a shift in consciousness from the lower dimensional 3D reality into a higher dimensional reality. The 3D reality relates more closely to the ego and believing in mostly only what we can perceive through the five senses. While the fifth dimension reality resonates at a higher vibrational rate and is composed of unconditional love, happiness, peace, freedom, and abundance, something most of us have sought or are currently seeking in this now moment. Because we are spiritual beings, it's only natural that we learn to ascend into a 5D reality, realizing that our bodies are merely vessels for our physical experience. 5D reality is the highest dimension available to us on the physical plane. And this is ultimately what most are attempting to create through deliberate manifestation efforts. You want the freedom, happiness, love, and abundance. That's why you watch these videos. And to do this, you begin to identify more with your spiritual self while shifting away from the identity of being predominantly physical in nature. In other words, the body is not who we are. We are so much more than that. And we can create a shift on the outer level when we tune into our inner state and nurture that. Because most of us want to experience more of these positive states, it's evident that the spiritual side of each of us is driving us towards a more enlightened and connected path. It's only that when we're born, we forget that this is our true essence and that we have these great abilities. But know that you are designed to remember who you truly are, and that you will when you have sufficiently reached into that space. Your 5D reality exists now, and you can move into that in any moment, depending on where you focus your energy. Let's dive a bit deeper into how this works. As human beings, we each resonate with our own individual energy that vibrates with a specific pattern of frequencies. Resonance is a natural occurrence that's a part of each of us. The word resonance means the reinforcement of sound by reflection, or the synchronous vibration of a neighboring object. For example, musical instruments and other objects are set into vibration at their natural frequency. When a person interferes with the object through direct contact, which places energy into the instrument, this input of energy rearranges the particles and forces the object into vibrational motion at that natural frequency. In physics, there's a popular experiment that demonstrates this, and I've discussed this before. This experiment demonstrates the exact way in which it works. A tuning fork is mounted on a sound box and placed on a table. Then a second tuning fork, mounted on a sound box, is placed on a table nearby. First, both tuning forks are stationary with no audible vibration. The first tuning fork is then struck with a rubber mallet, and it begins to vibrate at its natural frequency. These vibrations cause the sound box and the air inside the sound box to vibrate at the same frequency. Surrounding air particles are set into vibrational motion also at the same vibrational frequency, and it becomes audible a moment later. The second tuning fork then begins to vibrate, making the same sound, even though it's not been physically manipulated. At this point, the two tuning forks are ringing in unison due to an energetic alteration in only one of them. So why does this happen? Because the second tuning fork's natural frequency matches the natural frequency of the first tuning fork that was physically altered. Being that their frequencies match, there's a great possibility of getting a measurable result that can be perceived through the physical senses. The first tuning fork forces the other tuning fork into vibrational motion at the same natural frequency because they are connected by surrounding air particles. As the air particles surrounding the first fork begin vibrating, the pressure waves that it creates begin to impact the second tuning fork. The energy that is vibrated and carried by the sound waves through the air is tuned to the frequency of the second tuning fork. Since those sound waves share the same natural frequency as the second tuning fork, the tuning fork easily begins vibrating at its natural frequency. And this is an example of resonance. So what does this have to do with 5D reality and the experiences we have? Everything. You and the vibrational frequency you embody are just like the tuning fork. You carry a vibration that matches your thoughts and feeling states. The things that you want to experience in life, the freedom, love, happiness, and abundance, are also like a tuning fork, and they carry their own distinct frequency. If you're not experiencing these things, it can be concluded from the experiment given that you and those things are merely undetectable to one another, and only because you aren't carrying the same vibrational frequency. It's not that they don't exist. In fact, they exist and are within your direct reach. It's only that those things can't recognize or detect your vibrations, so they can become a part of your experience. It's as if there's a veil between you and those things, and unless you illuminate yourself via your frequency, they have no way of knowing that you are there so they can reach you. Take a moment to imagine that you're the first tuning fork in the experiment. Now imagine that you want to attract freedom and happiness into your life, and that the second tuning fork is the experience of that. You both exist in the same place, but you don't see or hear each other. You are literally unaware of each other's presence, although you could reach out and touch each other if you only knew the other was there. But you can only become detectable to each other if you strike your own freedom and happiness tuning fork, by creating that within yourself, which in turn causes the freedom and happiness tuning fork, the actual physical experience, to make the same sound that you're making. When that happens, resonance has taken place, and you're able to perceive each other's existence as physical reality. You become aware of the freedom and happiness from within as a part of your reality, and then it becomes aware of you, which completes the shift, or the manifestation. Shifting to a new, higher dimensional reality with higher states of being, and creating the experience of that in physical form, happens when we shift our inner workings sufficiently enough that this reality can be recognized through our senses, perceived by the mind, and noticed by our awareness. Our vibrational state is then translated by our physical state, just as it is now. When changing our state intentionally, we move into a higher state of being, and can then experience that as a 5D reality of physical experience. For many, whenever they don't notice, perceive, or recognize something as a part of their lives, they quickly and naively assume that it doesn't exist. But imagine that everything you want is right in front of you, and you simply don't see or hear it because your vibration is not a match to that. So how do you consciously control the vibration that you project so you can perceive the reality of the experiences you want? Your vibrational frequency is your state of being. Your signature frequency is a combination of your thoughts, emotions, and physiology. The waves that are created from these three things combine to form a standing wave that pulses and radiates your vibration and matches it with similar frequencies. This creates your perceived reality. Most importantly, all frequencies that can exist already do. All frequency combinations of all possible realities that can exist do exist simultaneously right now in this moment. You only have to match them to experience them. When you shift your thoughts, emotions, and physiology, you alter your frequency or state of being. And once this happens, you experience a different reality. The law of resonance is quite literally the law that determines how everything is manifested in your physical reality. If you want to shift into a higher 5D reality, where you experience more of those elevated states, the ones your spirit is driving you towards, try the following process to begin changing your frequency and consequently the reality you experience. Number 1, consider the fact that you exist simultaneously in a multitude of different awarenesses, but currently focus solely on just one of those possible realities. Because all possibilities and realities exist, let your imagination examine what the reality of the other versions of you might be like. Envision the happier, more joyful, and abundant models of yourself that experience elevated states of joy. Number 2, sit down with one or more of these different yous in a pleasant setting and ask them what their daily life is like. What do they experience that you don't? How is their physical experience different than yours? What path did they take that led them to the heightened experiences that they have? And most importantly, ask them to explain in great detail how they predominantly feel. Take as long as you need with this step. Number 3, while gathering this information, try to pinpoint the dominant vibration of the other you that experiences this. Is this vibrational frequency happy, energetic, more confident? What types of behaviors and expressions do you notice in this other version of you that you admire? What is it that you like most about them, and what makes them so magnetic to you? Number 4, from the options of the different yous, choose the version of you that appears to experience the life that you most want to have because of the way this you causes you to feel. You may already be able to notice that this you resonates with you. Can you perceive that you were able to manifest them with your imagination because you matched that vibration in that moment? What this means is you are able to match that vibration easily simply by using focused thought. This is a prime example of the law of resonance working for you to bring you what you desire. In other words, there's already a part of your vibration that is a perfect match to the vibration of the thing you desire. Because you can perceive and feel it, you are beginning to come into resonance with it. Number 5, ask this version of you if you may step into their shoes and experience their life for just a few moments. As you do, what are your thoughts about this life? What do you experience? How do you feel? Can you feel the predominant frequency that this version of you carries? Do you feel drawn to maintaining this feeling or frequency? What tips can you take away from this you so you can accomplish this? Take a few moments to really embody this frequency so that you're able to remember how it feels. And the last step is to ask this version of yourself to give you a trigger so that you may vibrate at this frequency whenever you feel that you have strayed from it. This is a simple way to reload the dominant vibration at will so that you can begin to perceive reality in the same way they do. Carrying this vibrational frequency opens you up to seeing and experiencing the same reality as the version of you that you admire. This trigger can be a word, image, sound, physical touch such as a light pinch, or anything else that resonates between you and the other version of you. Use this trigger as often as you'd like. The two tuning forks, you and the higher vibrational 5D reality you desire, have always been within reach of one another. You simply may not have been aware that what you truly want to experience is right next to you, just as it may not have been aware of you. Everything you wish for is already a reality and literally right in front of you. Whatever you want to experience is in actuality already here. Although we are taught to rely almost exclusively on our physical senses to determine what reality is, which is a 3D perspective, I invite you to entertain the idea that these higher vibrational states, everything you have been longing to experience in a positive, more spiritual way, already exists and is simply waiting for you to reach into that reality. And when you come into resonance with those things, your higher vibrational 5D reality will suddenly become your experience.